HOA jailed me over lawn complaints. Now they're foreclosing my home. You ever been dragged off your front porch in cuffs while your kid watched through the screen door because your grass grew 4 inches during a thunderstorm week? That's how I met Karen. My name's David Lennox. I'm a single dad, Army vet, and I own my home free and clear no mortgage, just sweat equity and the GI Bill. I moved into Briarwood Trails because the listing said, low HOA, not live under a tyrant. But that was before Karen became president. Karen is the kind of woman who wears a whistle to block parties and calls herself Madam Chair on neighborhood emails. She doesn't jog, but she'll drive her golf cart around the block 5 times a day with a clipboard in one hand and binoculars in the other. She also happens to be the only person who's ever said my lawn threatened the harmony of the community. 3 weeks ago, my daughter caught a virus. I stayed home to care for her, took unpaid days, missed mowing a couple times. The grass crept past 6 inches. That's when Karen struck. I got 6 violation notices in 1 week, a photo of my lawn from her window, and a formal final HOA warning, nailed to my front door like I was some medieval peasant. Then came the shocker. Karen filed a civil nuisance citation with the local code office, claimed I'd created an uninhabitable environment for neighbors. She actually used legalese lifted from a city ordinance meant for abandoned lots. 2 days later, a sheriff showed up with a bench warrant. Yes, a warrant. Apparently, the HOA pushed their case through a municipal court without notifying me properly. I never saw a summons, never had a chance to appear. And now I was being cuffed on my porch in front of my 10-year-old because Karen said my lawn lowered property values. I spent 2 nights in holding, missed 2 more shifts, missed my daughter's piano recital, came home to find a neon orange sticker on my door. HOA foreclosure proceedings initiated, unresolved fines. $1,764.32. That's when I called Gina. Gina's a public interest attorney. We served in the same infantry division, and she owed me one from Fallujah. When I told her what happened, she asked for 5 things: the HOA handbook, a timeline, a copy of the violation logs, the foreclosure letter, and every email Karen had ever sent me. 4 hours later, she called back, laughing. David, did you know your HOA bylaw article on lawn care was never officially registered with the county? And did you know Karen signed a document saying it was under penalty of perjury? That was the twist. Karen had doctored an older version of the HOA handbook, re-uploaded it to the community website, and used that fake version to fine 6 homeowners over landscaping violations. And since nobody challenged her, she kept escalating the fees until someone like me couldn't afford to fight back. Except this time she picked the wrong guy. Gina went nuclear. She filed a motion to halt the foreclosure within 12 hours. Attached to it were sworn affidavits from 2 other neighbors, both of whom admitted Karen had threatened fines over unpainted garden gnomes and unauthorized tomato planters. But the real gold came from the email chain she unearthed. One of Karen's board members had quietly forwarded Gina a damning message. Let's hit Lennox with max penalties. If he can't pay, we take the house and auction it. I already know someone interested in buying the lot. Clean slate, clean lawn. Karen wasn't enforcing order. She was running a land grab. But that wasn't all. Gina discovered Karen's HOA incorporated paperwork had expired 2 years ago. She'd never renewed it. Technically, the HOA didn't legally exist, which meant every fine, every enforcement letter, every official document pinned to my door was as worthless as her lawn height tape measure. We went straight to court. This time I wasn't alone. Gina stood beside me with a stack of documents 2 inches thick. And in the gallery, half the neighborhood, people Karen had bullied into silence for years. There was Mrs. Clark, the 83-year-old she fined for using a non-regulation wheelchair ramp. There was Dan, a postal worker she accused of leaving packages unsightly, and the quietest shock of all, her own niece, Rachel, who tearfully confessed that Karen had fined her own family out of their home to give it to a developer she was secretly working with. When the judge saw the extent of it, fake bylaws, expired incorporation, manipulated enforcement notices, his gavel hit the bench like thunder. He ordered an immediate cease and desist on all HOA activity, declared the foreclosure void, expunged my arrest record, and referred Karen for criminal investigation on 6 counts. False imprisonment, mail fraud, civil harassment, abuse of power, impersonating a public officer, and conspiracy to commit real estate fraud. Karen didn't even speak. She just sat there, her visor in her lap, sweat beading down her face, as the bailiff led her out in cuffs. Poetic, right? The woman who weaponized codebooks and grass clippers got shackled over her own weeds of lies. 3 months later, the HOA was dissolved. A community vote banned any future association from forming without full public oversight. The lawn rules? Gone. The fines? Forgiven. The homes? Finally peaceful. And me? I planted wildflowers. Right in the middle of the patch she hated most. They grew tall and bright purple coneflowers, goldenrod, bee-balm. My daughter named them Karen's Regret. We made a little sign out of driftwood that says, "Thrives without permission." So Yemi grass got me cuffed. But in the end, it also grew the roots that brought a whole neighborhood back to life. What would you have done in my shoes? Should I have let it go, or was this justice long overdue? Let's hear it.